Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with the next update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows. I'm very excited about this update. If you don't know, I mean most people now know what this project entails, but if you're new to this project, it was created by Alexi several years ago, but she's currently not posting on YouTube anymore, but she still has her playlist with her Pan Those Eyeshadows if you want to go and check out the original ones. And there's loads of different ways of doing this project. The original goal with this project was to kind of randomize palettes or eyeshadows and pick certain shades to try to pan on, hence the name Pan Those Eyeshadows. But since then, lots of different people have interpreted this project in different ways. You know, you can add a usage goal. That's what I've done this year as well. I've added a 15 usage goal or pan. Some people, you know, work on 5 shades, 4 shades, 6 shades. I this year work on 4 shades. Some people pick their shades in the palette, like they randomize a palette, pick a shade. Some people randomize eyeshadows completely. You know, some people have other rules, but the main goal of this project is to hit pan on your eyeshadows and you know, just get better use out of your collection in general. So that is the project itself. Like I said, I'm working on 4 eyeshadows with a usage goal of either 15 or hitting pan. So before I actually jump into the 4 eyeshadows I'm currently working on, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's just jump into the video. So I'm going to start by jumping into the first eyeshadow, and that comes from my Lilac You a Lot palette from Colourpop. I have been working on this eyeshadow for 2 months now. I always start with the eyeshadows that have been in the longest, and currently I have 3 eyeshadows that have been for 2 months and 1 that has been in for 1 month only. So with this eyeshadow I am working on the shade Imagine That, if I didn't mention that already, and this is what it looked like at the last update. At the last update I had already used this 11 times, so I only had 4 more uses to go or pan, but as you can see, hopefully in the pictures, I was nowhere near pan, and I did not hit pan now either, but I did use it an additional 4 times for a total of 15 uses, so I will be rolling this one out. You know, I do have a little bit of a dip in this eyeshadow now. I don't know how well you can pick that up, but yeah, there's a little bit of use which I'm really happy with, but I'm definitely far away from pan, so I'm happy that I have that 15 uses goal for these kind of shades, as well as my obviously more special shades, because sometimes they just take absolutely forever to hit pan on, and this is one of those. So 50 uses on this and it will be rolling out. I really like this eyeshadow. It is the most neutral shade in here, but it does show up quite mauve tone still. I mean, it looks almost like brown in this palette, but it's because of the packaging and the other shades it's surrounded by. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this out so you can see what it actually looks like. So there you have Imagine That on my hand, and you can see it definitely is very kind of cool toned, mauve toned. It definitely looks more, you know, purpley leaning than it does in the pan, because again, the packaging and other eyeshadows. But that is the first eyeshadow and it will be rolling out. So the second eyeshadow comes from my Natasha Denona Love palette, and I was working on the shade Commitment, which is the deepest shade in the palette. And this is what it looked like at the last update, and I'm also going to go ahead and show you the swatch. It is right there below Imagine That. These two paired lovely together, and I really love this shade. But that is what Commitment looked like last time. I had used it 7 times at that point, and this is where it is today. So you definitely can see it there, but I did actually pan on this eyeshadow, and it took me an additional 7 times for a total of 14 uses. So just one before that threshold of 15, but even if I would have hit 15 uses, I would have continued because I knew I was close to pan, and I'm so happy to have a pan in this palette. I feel a bit like I don't really want to necessarily, you know, hit pan on just shades in my Natasha Denona palettes, because I want to love them, like all the shades, equally. But with the cream to powder formula, it is easier to hit pan on, as this is such a dark shade. I use a smaller brush with those type of eyeshadows, like I use this with an eyeliner brush from time to time, like an angle, a bit like thicker brush to like smoke out. I use like a more pencil brush as well to use, you know, dab in my outer corner. And that is why like the dip is very distinct in the middle, and I was probably able to pan. If this was more about a transition shade, I think it would have taken longer, but I'm happy to have a pan on this palette and another shade that will be rolling out. The third and final eyeshadow that has been for 2 months now is my eyeshadow from Cleona Cosmetics in Bloodline. This eyeshadow I had used 6 times at the last update, and this is what it looked like then. I did actually have quite a lot of use out of this eyeshadow before, because it's one of my favorite eyeshadows from Cleona. I'm actually wearing this on my eyes today, although it probably looks a bit more, you know, golden to you, especially because I paired it over a red or like burgundy kind of shades on my lid. But when I'm looking at this eyeshadow in the pan that I have below me, it's like purpley base with a green and a blue shift, and then if I shift it, it goes into more of a gold shift. But again, on my eyes you can probably see more almost like a neutral coppery bronze. At least that's what it's shown up before when I wore this in other videos. But this is a beautiful eyeshadow, and I was actually able to use it the additional 9 times this month for a total of 15, and it will be rolling out. So a beautiful eyeshadow. You can kind of see a bit more of the base there, although it shows up a bit more kind of reddish on camera than what I can see looking at it like from a different angle. It's such a beautiful eyeshadow. I'm sad that I can't show more of the shift of this on camera because it's so beautiful, but you can probably see a bit more of the dip over there as well, because I definitely have a dip in this eyeshadow now. It's probably one of my biggest dip in my Cleon eyeshadows, and I'm really happy with that because it is one of my favorites, so I'm glad that it shows as well. But that is the shade Bloodline from Cleona, and this is another one that will be rolling out. And there you have Bloodline. Again, you can't quite see the shift on camera, but it's such a beautiful eyeshadow. I really love this. And yeah, if I look at it now, it looks like bright purple moving into like a golden, like a greenish shift, and then I decided to move more into like a bluish shift, and it has that kind of warm base, as you can see. To you it shows up more maybe reddish, but to me it has like that kind of purpliness to it too. It's such a shifty one. I really love this eyeshadow, and I'm so happy that I got to work on it in this project. The final eyeshadow that I have in this project at the moment comes from my Beauty Bay Book of Magic palette, and I rolled in the shade Elixir. When I rolled this in, it was untouched in my collection, and this is what it looks like then. I have used this a handful of times. I now have 4 uses on it, and this is what my eyeshadow looks like today. So you may be able to pick up that I have a little bit of a dip in there, but not, you know, I'm not close to pan yet. But I'm happy that I have some movement on it even after just 4 uses. The Beauty Bay palettes are very you know, the pans are very shallow, so I'm hoping that I will be able to pan on this within the 15 uses. But I'm not sure if it will be next month or the month after, because since it is such a bright shade, and this is what it looks like swatched out, I can't really use this every single day. I have worn it a couple of times in more neutral looks. I paired it with like some kind of mauve tone and some really cool toned shade, and used like, you know, very lightly faded, or like, I guess blend it over my other crease shades just to make them even more cool toned and almost a bit like, you know, bluish grey, and it's been working quite well. But it is a hard shade to incorporate in every day, because when you do incorporate it, it's very in your face, as you can see. And although I love those, you know, really colorful looks, I have been, you know, having lots of plans over the weekends. I've been going out, and I don't necessarily always want to wear those kind of really out there bold looks. I do wear them out to town sometimes, and if I go out, but I've been meeting like new people, and I'm going to the office, and in those situations, you know, a blue like this is not really what I reach for. So it has been difficult reaching for this eyeshadow, but I'm hoping to at least get another, you know, 5-6 uses, so I'll reach that 10 mark. And then, you know, if I don't have pan yet, maybe in the next month after that I will hit that 15 uses or pan. So that is my goal with this eyeshadow, but this one will be staying in. So this is my old color story right there, and the top 3 eyeshadows are rolling out. So I am starting the next month with this, so only 1 shade remaining. So I'm gonna go ahead and randomize some eyeshadows, pull up my spreadsheet and my randomizer, and we're gonna go ahead and pick my first couple of shades. So I have my pretty random right here, and we have between 1 and 872, which is the amount of eyeshadows that I have in my collection at the moment. So I have cleared my history, I'm ready to go, and the only rules I really have is that I don't want to roll in anything that has been like it has been in other projects, and I don't think I want to roll anything that has pan either, because, you know, even though I have a 15 uses goal on things, I want to know. My main goal of this project is still to hit pan if I can, so I do want to rule things that doesn't have pan in them. So that is going to be my, you know, main like rules. Not very many, to be honest. You know, nothing with pan and nothing that's in that other projects, but otherwise anything goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick my first number, which is gonna be number 139. Okay, I'm very excited about this one, because it's actually a palette that I wanted to pull out anyway as it is. I've been wanting to make a look with this palette recently, and that is my Colourpop Honey palette, which is the yellow tone palette, and this is the shade Totally Buggin', which I think is a matte, which I know that I won't be able to hit pan on, but at least I can reach for, you know, the palette. but I'm happy to roll that in. I'm very, you know, excited to be able to work on that palette a bit and reach for those shades because they are perfect for summer. So that is the first eyeshadow. The second one I'm going to roll in is going to be number 724. So 724 is another Cliona eyeshadows. I say this every month I film this video, but I keep rolling them in, but at least now I don't have any other ones in the project, so I'm fine with that. And this is actually one of the glitter iridescent shades, and this is the shade Glisten, which I can't remember what it's like at the moment. I think it might be like a purpley one or like a pink leaning one, but we'll see what that is. But I'm happy to roll that in, and the iridescent shades I am quite good at reaching for. Like, I think that might even be one that I can roll out within the month, even if it's 15 uses. So yeah, that is going to be the second shade. And then the final shade that I'm going to go ahead and roll in, it's going to be number 207. Okay, so 207 is actually another one that is going to be really good because it's a palette that I have on the shopping block at the moment because it's one that I haven't really reached for very much, and that is my Colourpop Flutterby. It's another Colourpop palette, and it is the shade Angel Baby or BB. So we're gonna have to see what that is. I have no idea if that's a shimmer or a matte, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick out my 3 new eyeshadows and I will be right back. So I'm back and I have my 3 eyeshadows, or my 2 palettes and my single, and we're just gonna go ahead and talk about them in the order that I rolled them in. So let's start with the Aha Honey palette. So in the Aha Honey palette I rolled in the shade Totally Buggin', which is this shade right here at the bottom, which is actually the shade that I thought it was gonna be. I knew it was the kind of mustardy shade at the bottom, the mustardy matte. And I have gone ahead and swatched this one out, and that is what this one looks like. It's a really nice color. I think it's going to be really easy to incorporate, and again it's going to be a really beautiful shade to work on now in the summer and even leading into autumn. So I don't think I'm going to have any problems hitting 15 uses on it, but whilst watching it I could tell it's one of the Colourpop's more firm formulas, so I definitely know I won't be able to pan on this in 15 uses, which is a bit unfortunate because again I do want to pan in this project. But with these eyeshadows I just know it's going to take so long, so I want to rotate through as many of my eyeshadows as possible this year, and that's why I'm putting that 15 uses goal in, so that I'm not stuck working on some of these eyeshadows for like, you know, 40 uses or so. But I decided to roll this eyeshadow in, and I do want to get a use out of the whole palette while I'm working on that, because this again is a palette that I wanted to reach for this summer anyway, and I haven't got around to yet, so I'm excited to have this in. Also, in the place of Palooza here I have another shade. It's like a more orangey shade with like a gold shift to it. That isn't Palooza. Palooza is a pressed glitter, but I have all my pressed glitters in my magnetic palettes, so that is why that's there, in case you do wonder why my palette looks slightly different. But that is the first eyeshadow that I'm rolling in. So the next eyeshadow that I'm rolling in is my Cliona eyeshadow that I picked, which is the shade Glisten, and again this is one of the glitter iridescent multichromes. This one is a beautiful shade. I have it there swatched on my finger, and it's showing up a bit more kind of cool toned to you guys, but I think, is it even like a bit of green reflect there at the very end? I'm not quite sure, you're gonna have to see in the video, but what I'm looking at is very kind of bright pink going into a gold and like an orange. I have swatched out there on my hand as well, and you can see it right there. I think that definitely looks more cool tone purple to you guys, but to me it definitely looks like very kind of bright fuchsia pink almost. Yeah, like a warm pink leaning into an orange and a yellow, but that is what it looks like on my hand to you guys. It's an absolutely stunning shade, and I'm excited to wear this and work on it. I'm excited to pair this with like different base colors and, you know, experiment with this color over different matte eyeshadows on my lid, and also as an Icona highlight. And I definitely think again I will be able to hit my 50 uses goal on this in the next month. I'm not gonna say I definitely will, because, you know, I will work on other things as well, but because I can wear this both as a lid shade and as an Icona shade, you know, I can incorporate it in a lot of looks. So I'm hoping to be able to roll this out next month, and that would be really nice, because since I'm refreshing 3 shadows this month, I'm not sure how many I will be able to roll out next month. And if I could get, you know, this shade out at least, because I'm not sure about that blue still, that would be amazing. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I can roll this out next month. Then the final eyeshadow that I'm rolling in comes from my Flutterby palette, and this one was kindly gifted to me from my friend Martina. She was decluttering it from her collection, and it was very lightly used, and this is what it looks like on the inside. And you know, she asked if I wanted it, and I wanted to try it out because I've been intrigued by this palette in general, and you know, I need more kind of cool tone palettes in my collection, so I was happy to give it a try. But again, it is on my shopping block, so I want to get more use out of it, because I haven't really reached for it at all since I got it from her in December, I think it was. But okay, I did not expect the shade to be like that, but I just looked what shade it is, and Angel Baby or Angel Baby is this shade right here, which is like a red tone brown. Definitely going to be, you know, somewhat easy to incorporate. Actually, it's going to be too similar to... I forgot to mention that when I mentioned my rules. One of my rules is that I don't want anything to be too similar to my Panda palette, which is my Modern Renaissance palette. And that is this shade swatched out right there. And I think this might actually be quite similar to Cypress Umber. You can see it there. I think it is. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to go ahead and re-roll, because I don't want to work on too deep browns, because this is definitely very similar to Antique Bronze. So not Antique Bronze, to Cypress Umber. I'm not even going to pull those out because I know that's a cool tone brown. It might be slightly deeper than this, but I will use them exactly the same way. So even though I would love to work on this palette, I'm going to go ahead and re-roll, because I don't want, you know, to take away attention from my palette, because I really do want to finish that this year. So I will put back in my collection for now, and I will re-roll that number. So I'm back with my randomizer again. I'm going to go ahead and pick another number, which is going to be 212, which isn't too far from this one actually. Okay, 212 is actually the number just after the Flutterby palette, but it is the shade Nubia from my Julia's Place Magic palette, which I already have pan on. So I'm going to go ahead and re-roll and see what I get. So we're going to get 157. And 157 works. It comes from my Colourpop The Child palette, and it is the shade Little Frog. I believe that's the green matte in that palette, but that works. So I'm going to go ahead and get that palette out, and we'll see what that shadow is. So I'm back with my Star Wars Mandalorian The Child palette from Colourpop, and the shade that I rolled in is Little Frog, which is the shade that I thought, which was the matte green down here. It does have a little bit of glitter in it, but I think this will perform mainly as a matte. I'm really excited to roll this one in actually, because I think this will work really well with my Wilderness palette from Beauty Bay, which is my Project Level Up palette, because there is a lot of green in there, and I don't think anything is necessarily exactly the same as this shadow. So I'm excited to pull this one in, and I did go ahead and swatch it out as well, and that at the bottom there is what it looks like. Very random color story, I would say, but I think this green and this yellow would work well together. And I might even try to top this glitter iridescent shade over the green shade as well, just to see how it goes. I might top it over, you know, I might even do like a 2 shadow look with all of these, with the glitter shade on top, you know, the matte, each matte all over the lid, and then topping that on top just to see how it goes, because I'm excited to play around with it that way. But that is my new color story. Compared to the old one, it's very, very different. I'm actually really excited to pull this in, because I've had a lot of similar shades for the last couple of months. I have a lot of blues, a lot of purples, and although I still have that blue in, I definitely have a completely different color story now than I've had all year, which I'm so excited about. So that is what the new color story looks like. And with this shadow, I'm not sure if I'll be able to hit pan on it. It's a bit more powdery than the other Colourpop matte that I talked about before, the yellow one. So I think there's a bigger chance I will hit pan on this in 15 uses, but I can't guarantee anything. And I already have 3 pans in this palette. I have these 2, which I think came from my Pan Those Eyeshadows previously. This one here is from my Project Level Up. Like I said, this was my Project Level Up Level 1 palette, so I did hit 1 pan. But that is what this palette looks like now, and again, that is my new color story. If you hear a dog outside, I apologize. It's not our dog. She's sleeping very soundly next to me. It must be the neighbor's dog, but I'm sorry if you can hear that. I just need to wrap this video up because my camera is about to overheat. But before I wrap up this video, I'm going to go ahead and go through some of the looks that I did. I don't have too many this month. I am getting better at taking photos, but I don't have too many. So the first look right here is actually the look that I did yesterday. I did film my whole collection Project Pan update with this look, so you might have already seen it. But I basically paired loads of different blues and like mints and greens in this look for my crease. So in the crease, I'm wearing basically all of the blues from the Wilderness palette, and all of the mints from there as well. And one of the blues that I'm wearing, kind of the main blue between the green and the blue, is the blue shade here from my Pan Those Eyeshadow, which was from the Book of Magic. So that is my crease color. And then on my lid, I am again wearing loads of different kind of coppery and gold shades, mainly from my Natasha Denona Metropolis palette, but also my single enlightening bar from Colourpop, which is the Super Shock Shadow. and I just wanted to get as many uses out of lots of different shadows as possible in this look. So it's a big mess of eyeshadows, but I quite like how it turned out. I'm also wearing a little bit of the red tones in my Wilderness palette in this look on my outer corner, and that is actually what I'm wearing for the mattes today as well. But that is the first look. Very different, but again, I quite like how it turned out. Next look right here, it might not necessarily look that I'm using any of the eyeshadows from this project in this look, but I am actually wearing that blue shadow again in the crease. Most of the looks that I took photos of were with that blue eyeshadow, because the other looks were very kind of boring when I used those ones. I used to use them as accents, and I have included them, I think, in some looks last month. I'm hoping so, but I just was focusing on, you know, taking photos with looks with the blue in them. But in this look, like I said, I'm pairing loads of kind of grey toned eyeshadows and silvers. I incorporated, I know, the Sultry palette from Anastasia for a matte and the lid shade. The deep outer corner shade, I think, comes from my Huda Beauty, the new one, what is it called, Rose Quartz palette. I think I used some shades from there as well in this look. And then, like I mentioned before, I took this blue eyeshadow on a really fluffy brush, and I very gently kind of used that in the crease just to diffuse the edges and give it even more of that cool tone look. And again, it doesn't necessarily look like I'm using any blues, but if you look really close in the crease, especially when I have my eyes open, you can see that little bit of blue peeking through, and I really liked using it that way. So I think I'm going to incorporate this blue in more everyday looks like this, because this is probably the best way that I found to incorporate this blue into everyday. Then the next shade is actually a look somewhat similar to what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing some red and kind of, you know, more mauve tones in my crease and my outer corner, and I think actually I might have even used the mauve tone here to just blend out the crease, but then I'm using some more burgundy shades. This I think is mainly from my Panda palette. I was using Venetian red. I was really trying to finish that up, so I paired that all over my lid as a base, blended it out with that Tosin shade right here from the Lilac You a Lot palette, and then on my lid I am wearing Bloodline all over the lid, similarly again to what I'm wearing today. So that is the next look. And then for the last look, I don't actually have, like, you know, a regular photo with it. It's just a screenshot from my thumbnail, but I forgot to take a photo with this look. This is another one where I have the blue in as a main focus. I used it all over my crease and a little bit on my lid. I paired it with some deeper blues again from the Wilderness palette. It is my product level up level 5 palette, so I'm using a lot of eyeshadows from there. I used that as the deeper blue on the outer corner. And then on my lid I am wearing the shade, two shades actually from Cleona, which is their glitter multichrome in CL or Ciel, or how you say it, CIEL, which is like a blue, like a light blue with a golden shift to it. And then I'm also wearing the shade Crown Jewel, which is a slightly deeper, more cobalt blue with loads of different speckles and sparkles in it. It's a beautiful eyeshadow, but that is this second look, or actually the last look that I have. And yeah, I really love this look, but I forgot to take like a regular video for Instagram with it, and that's why I just have my screenshots from the thumbnail. But that is the last look that I have to share. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you're doing Pan Those Eyeshadows down below. I'm so excited to work on this new color story. Yeah, I can't wait, and it's gonna be fun. I think for next month I'm gonna try to mainly focus on rolling out the new glisten shade that I'm rolling from Cleona, because I think I can incorporate that into 15 looks, and maybe hitting pan on that blue. Again, it's gonna be quite difficult, but those are, I think, my two best bets to roll things out next month. So that is it. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.